Hello again, everyone, and welcome to the Daily Message by Unity Clear Lake Center. Our title today is A New Race. And so I want to begin today with reading a poem that Charles Fillmore had in his book, Keep a True Lent. These things shall be, a loftier race than e'er the world has known shall rise, with flame of freedom in their souls and light of knowledge in their eyes. Nation with nation, land with land, unarmed shall live as comrades free. In every heart and brain shall throb the pulse of one fraternity. Fillmore wrote, "The time is right for the advent of a new race, the advent of the spiritualized man. This will be brought about not by a miracle or the fiat of God, but by the gradual refinement of the man of the flesh into the man of spirit." I spoke in one of my messages earlier about becoming an overcomer. One who is able to overcome their thoughts of fear, lack, jealousy, ill health, even in the face of all of those things, affirming that this was not the truth of their being. When we are able to know the truth of our being, even in the midst of everything unlike that that's going on around, that is the overcomer. And that is the person who, as Fillmore writes, is qualifying himself to become a member of this super race. So this new race is a race of spiritually minded people. And Fillmore is asking us to, as he writes, cultivate the childlike spirit and let go of all tense striving, even for spiritual things. So when we are able to move more deeply into the realization that the presence and the power of the one source God in the midst of our own personal life is the all-protecting, all-providing love, that's when we will feel all this fear and anxiety removed and dissolved. And what we feel in its place is such peace and harmony. And that's when our consciousness can then rise to the knowing of the abundance that we have available to us in all areas of our lives. Fillmore writes that when this happens, we will then find easy entrance into the consciousness, bringing strength and health and eternal youth and life. So this spiritual harmony with us depends largely on what he writes as the right relation of the inner and the outer realms of consciousness. Expression is the law of life. Whatever is expressed becomes manifest. And now I know that I've spoken of this during these messages before. Whatever we express through our words goes out to the universe to be manifest in our lives. But before we express these as words, they come in the form of thoughts. So we have to begin with our own thoughts, watching them, really looking at them, and then choosing if those are the thoughts we want to hold on to, or are they the thoughts we wish to discard as not being useful in our lives. We realize that we are not just doing this for ourselves as overcomers, but we are working also for the whole world, doing our part establishing this new race of consciousness. And as Fillmore writes, new heavens and a new earth. So first of all, we have to understand that God is principle. Christ is the idea of principle as it's brought into creation, and mankind is that creation on its way to the perfect expression of the Christ. So we, as these spiritual beings in this human form, have to learn that within ourselves, all the possibilities of being exist. When we become aware of this truth, so many times we forget that our possibilities are to be expressed according to the plans inherent within the truth of our being. And we end up proceeding to make our world after what we want and not for the highest opportunity of and possibility of spirit. Fillmore calls this the first step in the fall of mankind, the belief that we can act wisely without first knowing the plan of God. In other words, not going into meditation and asking God what it wants for our lives. Mankind is being with a capital B in miniature, and all the powers of God are available to us. These powers and possibilities are made manifest through mankind. It is therefore a fact that we must be an important factor in creation. And it also follows that we should become acquainted with our personal part of the work and to do our very best to carry it forward. All the powers of being are summed up and concentrated in the one word, I. And all of our possibility lies in this one word, and from it comes forth everything that appears. From the standpoint of the visible universe, this I is mankind. And by reason of our divinity, we make and unmake as we will. At work with the powers of being, mankind is the transformer of all things. And in this lies our greatest strength and our greatest weakness. As Jesus said, I of myself can do nothing. All authority has been given unto me in heaven and on earth. So each one of us have to acknowledge God in all things, in all of our lives, in every thought and act. And as Fillmore writes, there would be revealed to us a new world, an undiscovered country lying all about us, ready for our occupancy. A Course of Love has this statement in it: I dedicate all thoughts to union. The Saint Germain books expand on this statement, and it reads, I dedicate all thoughts to union with the one source, God. So the question is, how many times a day do we think about God, source, spirit, Christ? Do we think about that being only when we are in meditation? Or are we dedicating all thought to being in contact with the source of all good? You know, it's actually easy to do. All you have to do is just look around at what you have and give thanks for that. Giving thanks for that puts you in the flow of the energy of God, because gratitude is one of the highest vibrations on planet Earth, and the higher the vibration, the higher the consciousness. Fillmore writes, the real person is not flesh and blood. We are not body and brains. These are but our outer garments. Mankind is just as undefinable as God. The I within you is as great a mystery as the infinite I. You are just as great a mystery to yourself as you are to others. You do not conceive of your possibilities, nor can the Most High Archangel conceive of them. You are just as fully the Son of God as was Jesus or any other Christ-like human who has ever existed. The I Am is the same in all men and all women. It is without limit in its capacity to express the potentialities of God. So I would like to read to you some passages from the book, The Way of Mastery. The goal, then, of genuine spirituality is to realign the quality of your perception, to mirror, to resonate with, to be in perfect alignment with the perception of your Creator, to see with God's eyes. And another statement is, you must make the decision to desire above all things awakening and into perfect remembrance of your union with God. Another statement in there is, Just like the waves, you can decide to find a way to transcend limitation, to become re-identified with the consciousness, a living awareness that you are one with the depths of the ocean. Decide that you can operate not from the superficial level of awareness that might be like the foam on the top of the wave, which you call your conscious or egoic mind, but that you can become informed in all that you speak, in all that you do, in all that you create, in all that you perceive, by that which rests in the very infinite depths of the ocean itself. You can live, yet no longer you, but the Christ that dwells in you as you. This is a very real experience to be lived. There is a mystical translation that occurs in the depths of the soul, which is merely a shifting of where you perceive your sense and source of identity. So this is who you truly are. When we begin to own this as the truth of our being, this is when we can have a new race consciousness, one that lives in full connection with spirit and that can supersede all affects of the earth. I want to convey today just how important it is that each one of you are to this earth. Each one of you are here for the raising of this earth to a higher spiritual consciousness. One person cannot do it alone. We need all of you changing your thoughts and feelings to honor and become one with the Christ force inside of you. This will be your resurrection out of the old way of being and into the new. As you change your consciousness, you change your life. As you change your life, you help to change the world. So thank you for joining us today. We love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the Christ in you. Have a beautiful day. God bless.